Hi, it's Candice Quinn with Contract Tech, and today we're going to talk about something that every associate experiences, but few of us want to talk about, and it's the questionable things that partners have asked us to do as part of our job that we feel like we really can't say no to. And look, I'm not here to trash anyone, but we've all been there. We get these instructions and we're just like, wait, what? What are you asking me to do?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Some were just dumb, some were wildly inefficient, and some made me question if the partner was actually being ethical or not. So grab your coffee and let's talk about it. Because if you're dealing with a partner making requests of you that don't feel quite right, you are not alone. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to deal with these requests so that you know that your license is safe and that your career is safe. Okay, so first let's talk about the inefficient stuff. You know, the partner who doesn't want to use technology, who has you print every email. Early on in my career, I worked with a partner who was in his 70s who had me print out every single email. Yes, he could use the computer, but he liked to print emails and then write his response on the paper for me or his assistant to draft as the response back. He also insisted I print out every single email, double hole punch it, and clip it into the paper file. I'm talking hours I spent over the course of one file billing for doing this. It's a complete waste of time and a complete waste of money for the client. Then there's the partner who wants you to reinvent the wheel every single time. I had this one partner send out a firm-wide email saying that we are not going to dupe and revise any pleadings or documents from any other file going forward, that we are to create each document from scratch each time, from a blank Word document. His reasoning was that otherwise we would make mistakes and we would forget to change names, which yes, of course, can happen. But instead of setting up a foolproof process to make sure that we did not do that, his solution was to spend hours and hours extra to start from scratch each and every time. He'd also argue that every deal was unique, which yes, it is, but an NDA for a certain type of transaction is typically the same, or at least a very similar format, and the same template could be used over and over again. The result was I would work until 2 a.m. trying to come up with all of these original drafts when really I should have just been copying what was already there and not worried about his directive. Then there's the time tracking paradox, which is where the attorneys tell you don't bill your time as you do it. Just think back at the end of the week and record it. So I never understood this because they want precise billing. They don't want me to underbill because that's not good for the firm's finances, but they don't want me to overbill either because that doesn't look good for the clients. So what they want is for me to have very precise billing, but not bill it when I actually do it. Bill it at the end of the week to the best of my memory. That makes sense. Okay, so now let's talk about the dumb stuff. I had a partner who would print every single document and instead of using track changes in Word, would write in red pen his changes to the contract. Then he would have me type it up and send it back to him so he could review it again. He was only 5 years older than me, so he was not ancient and he knew how to use technology. But typing was beyond his skill set, but he could chicken scratch all over documents. Then there's the reverse delegation. Partner gives me something to do. I write and draft the memo that they gave me. I give it back to them to review, and instead of reviewing it, they do their own of the same exact thing. Give that to me to review and revise. Then I give that back to them and they review it and revise it more and incorporate parts of my initial one. So essentially, I did the work, they did the work, and then we each kind of redid each other's work, and they billed the client for all of that. Like, you either could have revised what I gave you, or you could have done it yourself and had me revise what you did. But the way it worked out was just odd and did not seem efficient at all. Okay, this is a favorite one. The urgent that isn't actually urgent. 4 p.m. on a Friday, email comes in, I need this first thing Monday. So you drop all your plans, you work on it the whole weekend. Monday rolls around, you've sent it to the partner, you're so excited to hear the response or get the atta girl on your back. Partner doesn't even open the email. It's Thursday till they open the email. So was it urgent? And this happens so many times. When everything is a fire drill, nothing is a fire drill. And that's kind of what happens with these partners who call wolf all the time. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If a partner creates urgency all of the time, that's a firm problem, not a you problem. So don't take it personally. Now let's talk about the ethically questionable stuff.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
The stuff that really made me wonder if I needed to say no. Now, I want to make it clear here, I'm not accusing anyone of ethical violations. I don't know the full stories. It's just things that made me question. A gut check made me go, oh, I should dig into this more. But these are the gray areas that really put junior attorneys in impossible positions where they're choosing between their job or their law license. The bill it anyway conversation. I remember I spent 30 minutes researching an issue and there really wasn't a lot of case law on it, so I came to a conclusion very quickly. When I presented that to the partner, he thought I should have billed at least 2 hours on it and told me to change my billing from 30 minutes to 2 hours. I wasn't comfortable inflating my time for the client to pay for 2 hours for something that took me 30 minutes, so I didn't end up doing that. I just kind of let it go, and maybe I should have raised that as an issue, but I decided I would just handle it internally with myself. Then there's the don't document that instruction, where the partner tells you, hey, call the client, tell them this, but don't write that down in the email, don't put it in the notes, don't do anything in writing. Now, that also gets my spidey senses tingling because that doesn't feel like the way most law firms behave. They want to document every single thing. So of course I would be leery about that. Now, I'm going to add a caveat that when it comes to in-house attorneys, the attorney-client privilege is a little bit more questionable, and sometimes it is worthwhile to have conversations with business members that are verbal only because we want to be sure the attorney-client privilege is protected. And sometimes sending emails and things like that may disrupt the attorney-client privilege. So there is a caveat to that. Not everything in-house is going to be shady, but if you're at a firm and they're telling you not to document something that you told the client, there's probably a reason why they don't want that documented. And maybe it's legit, but it's probably not, and you should investigate further. Okay, and another one is the phantom work. The attorney that tells you to bill something on a matter that you never even touched. In fact, you did the item, you did the work, but you did it for another client whose matter is already over budget. So now the attorney wants you to bill it to another matter so that they still get paid for it, but aren't pissing off the client that's already over budget. That's completely unethical. And on that one, I just didn't bill it at all. I took a hit on my hours. I gambled that the partner would not realize the time was missing. And of course they didn't because their memory is not perfect, but it was 2 hours of my time that I spent that I did not get credit for. Another one that's a fun one is the creative conflict check. Attorney goes out to lunch, comes back, oh, found a new client, doesn't, comes back with the client maybe even, like they're representing him now and hasn't done a conflict check, and that there's an active conflict because you're working on the other matter that has the conflict. And instead of getting the appropriate sign off and doing the Chinese wall, the attorney just instead decides, I'm just gonna do it. And that's what happens. And unless someone calls him on it, that's what's going on. Okay, now here's my whammy of the story. I still don't know all the answers to this. So we can talk about what this might have been. I was about ready to go to lunch when I got a call from one of the meanest partners in the firm. And the partners that I directly worked for were already out at lunch. So I went down to talk to him, and here's what he told me. He's like, go get your lunch wherever you're going and take this envelope and go to this firm and eat your lunch at this firm. Insert name of firm there. So then when you're done with your lunch, you're going to give them the file folder, and they're going to give you a check and another envelope. And you are going to go to the courthouse and you are going to file what's in the envelope. And then you're going to go buy yourself some dessert at the bakery near the courthouse. And then come back to our firm and give us the check and submit the cost of your lunch and your dessert. Now, I didn't know what to do with this. I had no idea what I was being sent to do. It didn't seem up and up, or I thought there would be more context. If I'm going into a courthouse to file something, I should know what it is I'm filing so I can answer questions, if there are any, from the file clerks. So I thought about it. I couldn't call the partners I worked for and trust it a little bit more because they were at lunch. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this, but I'm just going to not look at any of this stuff. So I'm gonna have plausible deniability, and that's what I did. And to this day, I still don't know what I did, and I don't wanna know what I did. Okay, so when you're working with partners like these, and let's face it, we all will in the future, what can you do about it? You're not powerless. You don't have to just suck it up or not have a job. There are some real things that you can do to protect yourself. For the inefficient and the dumb stuff, just pick your battles. It really isn't that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. The client will eventually catch on if they're being billed for hole punching emails, and they will get, the firm will get what it has coming to it when that happens. And you will have followed the directions of the partner, and you assume that they were writing down your time or something like that, whether they were or not. So just let that system kind of go as it is, with the client holding the firm responsible for the time billed. But in order to, add some value, start documenting your time spent doing these inefficient tasks, and then start making a proposal for ways to improve processes. Oh, I heard there's this technology that can help us make binders now, or I heard that we can do this instead, and say we could save 15 hours of time on every deal if we did it this way. And that's a really good way to add some value and use the data from these tasks. And when it comes to the dupe and revise thing, I say just use the templates. Like, build your own templates and then be responsible for actually duping and revising them appropriately. And no one will need to know the wiser. Partners aren't going to go back and track where you got the template from. If you start all the templates in your name then and copy and paste, the metadata related to the document will look like you just started it from scratch. When it comes to billing dishonestly, just don't do it. It's not worth the loss of your license to bill dishonestly. If you didn't spend 2 hours on something, don't say that you did. It's just not worth it. No, when it comes to the ethical stuff, the things that you really think could be an ethical violation, this is non-negotiable. You do not want to do anything that's not ethical. It's your license on the line, which is your livelihood. This supports you and your family. So definitely always give these things a second thought. But there are some resources that you can use to help you determine if it's something that you should push back on or something that doesn't really matter. Ask questions. Talk to the partner. Say, hey, I'm a little concerned about why we're doing this instead of blank, and see what their answer is. Perhaps there's a plausible explanation that you just don't know because you didn't know all of the facts or circumstances, and that's highly likely. And by asking, you're both asking to learn and showing that you're looking at ethical considerations too, which, if this is an up and up partner that was doing something on the up and up, there should be no problem with this at all. If you are really uncomfortable with something, document it. So on the story I went on with the pleading and the lunch and the dessert, I should have documented it when I got back. I should have sent the partner an email and said, hey, I filed whatever was in that folder, da-da-da, yada yada, and just made the document. And that way I could document it for myself. I could document it for others in the firm. I could have copied the partners that I work for more and just made more people aware in case something suspicious was happening. You also need to identify your limits. There's definitely a difference between I disagree with this approach and this is unethical. There's lots of ways to get to the same goal, and sometimes we may just disagree with how the partner is trying to get there, but that doesn't mean it's unethical. And this can be a hard line to see, so you don't necessarily have to go at it alone, but stay tuned for that tip. And if you definitely know something is unethical, you don't have to follow these instructions. If you work at a firm that has any reputation at all, they will stand up for you over the dishonest partner, or at least you will not lose your job. You may never work for that partner again, and you probably don't want to anyway, but you probably won't lose your job if you truly refuse to do something that is actually unethical. Know your resources. You are not alone in this. There's anonymous tip lines, there's bar associations that have counsel that can help you with ethical violations. So definitely reach out to the resources available to you. You may even have a counsel in-house that can help you with ethical concerns and talk through them. Just give them the facts and they'll make the determination. So that way it's not on you. You just gave some facts and they're making the determination of whether it's ethical or not. And I find that has been really helpful in some of the situations that I found myself in with my own firm. I called my own for myself and said, is this ethical or not? So definitely use those resources that are available to you because it's your career, it's your license. The dirty secret of big law and even all law firms, honestly, is that there's a huge power imbalance between the partners and the associates, which can lead to the associates feeling like they have to do things that are otherwise unethical in order to keep their jobs. And yes, that is true. You may have to hole punch those emails and put them in the binder. Like that may be what you have to do, but you don't have to bill time that you didn't actually work on a matter, and you don't have to bill time to a client's matter that you didn't work on. And trust me, if you're not entering that time, if the partner enters that time for you, there is going to be metadata that backs you up on that. Here's what I've learned after my time in firms. Your career is long, and people are going to remember you for your reputation, who you are, what you stood for as an attorney. So be the attorney that can be counted on, that's trustworthy. When the opposing counsel sees your name, they don't get agitated or irritated to have to work with you. Be the attorney with the good reputation that they know is going to be trustworthy, honest, and forthcoming in all of their matters. And above all, know that there's a difference between paying your dues, i.e. hole punching those emails, and being unethical. And you don't have to do the latter. Look, I don't have any bow to put on this. The fact of the matter is that junior associates and associates are going to get questionable instructions from partners, either because they weren't thought out properly or the partner is actually trying to be unethical. But you don't have to just take it, and you can think through and make a decision on your own about whether or not you complete that ask. Every attorney I know has these types of stories of things that partners ask them to do. So you're not alone, and we can all come together and share these stories and share other tips on how we survive in this world. If you're in a situation where you're consistently being asked to do things that seem unquestionable to you, well, that's not a you problem, that's a firm problem, and I would definitely be getting ready to look for a new job if I was in that position. If you're looking for a better firm, then I'd love to talk with you. We can talk strategy, talk through your goals, figure out where you should go next. Go ahead and schedule a free call with me. The link is in the pinned comment and the description below. Bye for now, hackers.